here on the Fast 15, we're going to be talking about the War of 1812 and the Louisiana Purchase here, and we have some guests, Mr. Monte and Mr. Stewart. So we're going to get that in right now, so we'll be back with you in a second.
How are you?
I'm fine, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Are you ready to discuss about the War of 1812 and the Louisiana Purchase?
Yeah, I have a lot of great information for you guys.
Great information?
Sure, yeah.
What do you think would be the purpose of this conversation?
Well, the whole idea of this interview should be to explain how the War of 1812 and the Louisiana Purchase contributed to nationalism and the expansion of the nation.
Expansion nation. It'd be good to teach our youth something useful that will better them as an American. Okay, Mr. Monday, since you say you know so much about the War of 1812,
Yes, sir.
when was it fought?
The War of 1812 was a 3-year-long battle. It started in June 18th, 1812, and it ended February 18th, 1815.
Wow, so much is done in 3 years.
3 years. It was one battle.
What areas were affected by the war?
Well, along the eastern coast, along the Atlantic, as well as some Central America also.
That's a lot. What do you think would be some major generals and commanders throughout the War of 1812?
Major generals and commanders on the U.S. side were President James Madison. He played a big, significant role in the war. General Henry Dewborn and Commander Jacob Brown. And on the British side, on the British side, there was Robert Ross, George Prevost, and Lord Liverpool.
That's it. How many soldiers were they in command of?
Well, there were many soldiers that fought in this battle. On the U.S. side, there was 38,000 soldiers, and on the British side, there was 45,000. About 2,200 soldiers that were wounded on the American side, and about 15,000 died in total. And on the British side, there were about 1,600 that were wounded, and about I believe 5,000 that died in total.
That's a lot of lost lives. How do you think their family might have felt after that?
Well, I'm pretty sure they were devastated because they just lost either their husband or their son. Or their brother.
It has to be. Do you think any very significant events happened during the War of 1812?
Well, of course. Well, there's always the White House was burned down in 1814.
Yes.
Yes, and the British actually came over from the Atlantic and burned down the White House. But it was rebuilt, new and improved.
Well, of course, it had to be rebuilt. What they being right now.
Yeah. What was that?
Were any additions added when they rebuilt it?
Yes.
Okay, so being that the War of 1812 was a 3-year war that was between America and British, what do you think would cause something that's that bad?
Well, it's funny that you asked. There wasn't just one cause, that just started this war. There were actually 4. The ones that I picked out, especially for this interview. Number 1 happens to be the impressment of these soldiers, and that was where the soldiers were trading trading overseas, and the British captured some of the American soldiers and forced them to labor on their ships.
Impressment.
Yes. Number 2 would happen to be the second cause would have to be the interference with the interference with trade between France, because the British didn't want any connections between the two countries, because what am I trying to say?
Do you understand why the British didn't want to trade between two countries, or do you just know that the British didn't want to trade between America and France?
Hold on, hold on. Like I'm just trying to figure out like how to word this.
Okay, take your time.
You know what I'm saying? So so the American soldiers were trying to trade with the French, but the British wanted to stop France from trading with America because they didn't want the power to continue to grow and have.
Which power, American power or France's power?
Well, if they're trading together, then they're both in alliance with each other, which in
So both of them. Then with the
Yeah.
British want to stay the main.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if America and French combine powers, then they could overpower the
British Empire.
Yeah, exactly.
Which of course they hated that.
Yeah, yeah, they really did. And then a third cause was the demand for warhawks.
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 Warhawks. The Warhawks.
Yes, I did. The leader of the Warhawks was Henry Clay. He was the Speaker of the House. And leading up to the War of 1812. Then what? And then what I say?
Oh, so he was Speaker of the House leading up to the War of 1812?
Yes.
That's
You actually sound like you know a little bit about Henry Clay.
not Henry Clay, but I know a little bit about the Warhawks.
Well, you tell me something.
Well, the Warhawks, they were from the South, Americans that love war, the aggressiveness that we're not proud of our nation need to be spread across the world. Well, the Warhawks were the people in the South, like I said, that really wanted to go to war with British, but not because of the defending thing, not because of how they felt. Well, it wasn't because of how they felt. They wanted to spread it. They wanted to become the British. They wanted to spread our American beliefs and our American nation everywhere. So, the old South country bumpkins, those idiots down south, they wanted war. And they figured that was the best way to spread America.
Well,
I apologize for country bumpkins. Apparently my supervisors didn't like that term that I used. Well, let me rephrase that. They were the congressmen, the upperclassmen, those people in power that had nothing, that wanted to just spread it with no regard for anything else. They're not country bumpkins, just not the intelligent people that we know and love our American society to be. So,
yeah, that's his disclaimer right there.
what would your fourth reason be?
The fourth reason was the British supported the attacks from the natives on the white settlers that settled in the West.
White settlers?
Yeah, the white settlers that came over from Britain.
All four of those causes, after everything that happened, all 3 years, how would something like that actually end?
Well, the hold on.
Treaty?
The Treaty of Ghent was formed, and yeah, it was formed to hold on.
It was formed to end the war, correct?
December 24th, 1814, established antebellum. Okay, there was the Treaty of Ghent that was formed, and it was established December 24th, and it was just established December 24th, 1814. And it was for the antebellum, and the antebellum was basically something that
It meant no one lost territory in that war, which means no one gained or lost their own land.
Let me repeat that. And the antebellum was something that that meant that no one lost the war, and both sides.
And both sides were like on equal ground.
Antebellum was an establishment to where no one won the war, but both sides equally obtained what?
And let me correct you a little bit there. See, you didn't know everything about the War of 1812. Antebellum was meant. It's not anything that was established. It was like a saying that they created. It meant that no one lost or gained in the war. So basically, it was an equal war that probably wasn't worth it anyway. But if you were thinking about the losses, the casualties, and you can find the winner. Alright, well thank you, Diamante. It was nice having you on my show. I appreciate it. I will see you
Thank you for everything.
next week when we discuss the actually nothing. And that's the last one I'll have you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well goodbye, Diamante. Nice to meet you.
It was a pleasure, man.
So, Miss Martin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. It's a fine Wednesday morning. So, what are you here to discuss today?
I'm here to discuss the Louisiana Purchase.
Really? What exactly would you know about the Louisiana Purchase?
I know when it was, where it involved, who was involved, why it happened, and what exactly happened.
Well, good for you. So, when was it exactly?
It is said to be involved in the early 1800s, but it was official in 1803.
1803. Wow, a long time ago.
About 212 years.
What exactly happened?
President Thomas Jefferson sent James Monroe to France to discuss with Napoleon about purchasing the port of New Orleans. Napoleon did agree, except he offered to sell all of the Louisiana territory instead of just New Orleans. He offered it for about $15 million, and we bought it. And the purchase of that territory about doubled the land that the United States covered.
Why do you think he wanted that much land?
They had been thinking about expanding westward, expansion of the country. So this just helped to start the major westward expansion.
Nice. Well, how much territory was the Louisiana Purchase exactly? Or just give me a rough estimate of how much it may have been. If you need a reference, there's a map right here.
I would say a few 100,000 involved, and they were covered.
100,000.
It about doubled the land space of the United States.
How did that contribute to nationalism that people felt? Like, how do you think people felt after acquiring so much land?
I believe that they felt very happy about the expansion.
Happy?
Yes, because they could expand and start to expand businesses or homes and urban areas for people to live, and they could grow crops if they wanted to. It created many more jobs since they could expand the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they were very pleased with the westward expansion of it.
Do you think they were satisfied with the Louisiana Purchase, like all that land, or do you think they probably still wanted more?
I believe they still wanted more. They wanted to expand across a major part of North America.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just a head start on the expansion of it.